Report story. The sun was setting now, and Izuku had meditated the best he could. However, he only managed that first initial time. Excitement had clouded his mind, and after the familiar twilight started enclosing around him and a tired-looking Eri, now sitting next to him counting all the flowers she had found, Izuku decided to call it a day. You're looking pretty sleepy. Did you play hard today? Izuku asked, chuckling a bit, looking down at the small girl next to him. Yay, it was fun, she said, falling asleep a bit and leaning on Izuku's arm, dropping the flowers. Izuku picked Eri up and placed her on his back, holding her up by the legs. Izuku looked up at the sky. It was getting late, and that meant Ochako was probably back in her dorm. Izuku smiled. He had really wanted to see her today. It was weird, not going to class. Usually he would have walked with her to class, glanced at her a few times during class and then studied with her afterwards. He missed her. Izuku blinked a few times. That was a new feeling. He missed her a lot now that he thought about it. They have been constantly together these last few months, and even before they were dating. Life without her, even if it was just a day off from school like today, was weird. Lonely, even. Izuku started walking towards the dorms, hurrying a bit in order to see his cinnamon roll of a girlfriend, before running into Bakugo. Oi, nerd, Bakugo called out from the road. I've been looking all over for you, ya damn Deku. Where have you been? Ka-chan, quiet down. Eri is trying to sleep. Don't tell me. Bakugo started, but Izuku shot him piercing look. Bakugo stopped. Deku didn't usually fight back, even if it was a simple look. Tisk, whatever. I came looking for you because I heard about what happened. You didn't lose one for all, did you? He asked in a relatively calmer voice. I wouldn't say I lost it, more like I can't activate it, it's still there. Every now and then it takes over when I need it most. I am assuming the drug affected me a bit differently since I'm technically already quirkless. Can't de-evolve what's already de-evolved. Bakugo put his hands in his pockets and started walking back to the dorms, turning back for only a second. I don't care about the damn inner workings. Just get your quirk back. I won't accept a victory like this. He walked off. Izuku starred before shaking his head and walking after him towards the dorms. He had a little girl to put to bed and a girlfriend to see. Ochako was at her desk, multiple papers on stacked and scattered across. She had homework from classes, information on Gaslighter that was given to her by Aizawa that the pro-heroes had dug up, and information regarding her hero duties and schedules balancing out classes and patrols investigating where Gaslighter was. Ochako sighed. She put her head on her desk. This was going to be a lot, and she didn't have a choice but to suck it up and do it. Gaslighter was still out there and he heard her Izu. But it's only night one and this is already starting to weigh on her. No, she couldn't just quit because it was hard. She will organize and set this up. It's what Izuku would do. She sat up and started reading through the Gaslighter documents before there was a knock at the door. Come in, she called without looking up from her papers. Izuku walked in with a smile. Hey there, Ocha. Whoa, what you got going on there? He asked, walking over to her. Izu, it's so much, she complained to him as he walked up and stood next to her. She wrapped her arms around his waist, still sitting in her chair as he stood looking over at the papers. Promoted stories. You'll also like Dreamscape 357K 10.1 KYN. Has been trapped for most of her life, used as a tool for others' gain. Her quirk was fabricated to be used as the perfect weapon, a weapon to help in stealing other. Villain Deku 11.1K 261 words. 23,820. Izuku was just 14 when he met All Might and asked if he can be a hero, but All Might crushes his dreams and left him on a rooftop. What All Might didn't. Revenge of the wronged hero who happens to be. One could have thought that someone as pure and innocent as Izuku Midoriya would be betrayed by his friends who he thought that he could trust with everything he has. The paths he chooses. Book 1. A fate of few. S. A normal day for Izuku as he completes his normal routine and goes to school. Along the way he runs into Yui Kodai, a quiet and mysterious girl of Class 1B, they Shining Light 42.6K 928 Quickless. Normal. No heroes or quirks, so Izuku Midoriya and Ochako Uraraka have been best friends since kindergarten. But when problems in high school try to drift them, I can't lose you. Warning. Spoiler warning. Mentions of the events leading up to, including and following the internship arc. Warning. Katsuki has always been bad at expressing his feelings, but when Dream on B.K. Downwards arrow tip rightwards, in which a jealous bachelor signs a deal with the devil in order to win over the heart of his first love. Katsuki Bakugo has loved the PR. It does look like you've got a lot going on here, doesn't it? Izuku asked, as Ochako buried her face in his stomach. Stuff on Gaslighter. Have they found him already? Nope. In fact, that's the goal. Aizawa offered some of the students back to their work studies to help out trying to locate the villain. According to the papers, he's just an amateur villain, so it would make good practice for us. We need to catch him quick though. Yay, I see that, Izuku said, looking at a picture that was in the stack of a burned down apartment building. An amateur, huh? Yay, Ochako said, moving away from Izuku's stomach and back to the desk. The only reason our fight against him was so hard was because you lost your quirk. We don't believe he has any more quirk-destroying drugs. Amateur or not, he's still dangerous. He's emotionally unstable and disconnected. I see that, Izuku said, staring hard at the burned apartment building. Ochako gave Izuku a look. Izu, I hope you're not think of doing anything. Ochako said with a stern look. You don't have your quirk and Aizawa forbade it. Izuku sighed and set the picture down. I know. Don't worry, I'll stay here. You're on this mission, right? Izuku asked. Why, yes, I am. Ochako answered. Izuku smiled. Then I have nothing to worry about. Ochako gave him a confused look. What do you mean? That's kinda unlike you. You usually would try to jump into action, quirk or not. Ochako said. Izuku looked at her confused. I mean, yeah, usually, but I've got nothing to worry about here. I don't have my quirk right now. I'd only slow you down. And if you're on the case, then why would I need to worry? You're one of the greatest heroes I know. I know you can do this. I believe in you. Therefore, I don't need to do anything here. Ochako sat there staring at her. Izuku. She blushed furiously. He believed in her that much. He had enough faith in her to calm him down. The headstrong, save everyone, jump into action boy felt confident enough in her to not worry. Izuku. Yay, Ocha. Izuku asked, looking at her with a still confused look. Ochako stood and wrapped her arms around Izuku's neck. I love you so much. She said as she kissed Izuku. Slightly surprised, Izuku kissed back, wrapping his arms around her waist. She pulled away and looked into his eyes. I won't let you down, she said. Izuku chuckled. I know. But hey, I'm still involved. This is a lot of work, right? Let me help you go through it. What do they have you working on now? Izuku asked as Ochako sat back down in her chair. Izuku leaned over to look at the papers she had spread out. Well, right now we know that Gaslighter potentially lived in this apartment. Looks like he blew it up to destroy evidence of himself, but that just gave us a starter location to do some digging on him. Going through the apartment's online renters database and looking at the video of when you and I fought him, along with quirk identification, the pros determined this to be Hamari, Gasuki. Ochako explained, pulling some printed out documents on the stack she had. I'm surprised Aizawa gave you this information. Are you sure you should be sharing it with me? Izuku asked, taking the papers and walked over to sit on her bed. I actually got the information from Yukio a few hours ago. She let me have this information since I'll be on her team again. I have the most experience technically besides you, and requested to be deeply involved more this time than with Ares' rescue. But should I be, Izuku, you'll probably get this same information eventually. You are involved. More than anyone else. You fought and have lasting effects from it. They'll have to question you eventually. Plus, I mean, just don't go blurting out you saw the documents. Izuku shrugged and went through the documents. So wait, if they already know who this guy is, then that should be an easy win, right? He should be in this general area, and we have cameras in most parts of public places. I'm also sure someone has a tracking quirk. That's the thing that's odd. They did track him. They got someone with a smelling quirk and a quirk that allows the user to follow footsteps of the trackee. They used that and followed the scent for good measure, and he actually got a pretty far distance away. He actually got close to Ua, but the trail ends in the middle of an alleyway. Did he turn around and go somewhere? Izuku asked. Ochako shook her head. No, I mean the train just ends. It stops. Unless he started randomly flying, but the scent doesn't follow upwards. It just disappears. Maybe he went to his family. Izuku suggested, a hand to his chin. Ochako shook her head. Look at page 13. Izuku followed her orders and flipped to page 13. There he saw a happy-looking man and woman. Under the papers was a description. Great, so we know who his parents are if we find where they live then. Oh. Izuku had read the ends of the document describing the findings. Gaslighter's quirk appeared while they were driving. His quirk literally manipulates the flow of gasoline. He couldn't control his quirk and the car exploded. His parents didn't survive. Suddenly a lot of pieces starting to fit together into Izuku's head. That explains his method of blowing up the car to get my distraction. It's a distress call to him. He's emotional. It also explains why he was mad. He probably doesn't like his quirk. Ochako turned in her chair to focus on Izuku. They found remains of the same cases Chisaki had with the permanent drugs in them. He had a few. That's why he's angry. He wants to get rid of his quirk. We took away his only chance. Izuku said, a shadow forming over his face. It was hard to imagine wanting to be quirkless. He had been it all his life and it felt like a curse to him. Is that how Gaslighter felt about his quirk? Well, that's a good thing, right? With that we can deduce what he hit you with isn't permanent. Ochako said with a smile trying to lighten the mood. Izuku smiled at her. Yay. Izuku had actually had a realization about that during meditation training. Waiting to get his quirk back may not actually be that easy. What's wrong, Izuku? Ochako asked. Izuku gave her a saddened look before hardening his expression. I'll tell you later, okay? I need to clarify it first. I think I put something together about it. Ochako nodded, allowing Izuku space until he was ready. Speaking of space, Izu, I really missed you today. Ochako said, getting up from her chair and sitting down next to Izuku on the bed. Did you miss me? A lot. I was out there teaching myself how to meditate, and you're what came to mind in my state of calmness all the time. You put me at ease. It was weird being without you. Izuku reached for Ochako's hand, gripped it and laid it gently in her lap, holding it. I hate being away from you. Izuku whispered, leaning closer to her. Her. Ochako slowly started closing her eyes. I hate being away from you too. Suddenly the door slowly creaked open and Izuku froze in place, staring at the door. A little silver-haired girl walked in. Deku. Coco. I don't like the dark. Eri. What are you doing awake? Izuku asked, before Ochako lightly hit him in the stomach. Afraid of the dark? Come here, Ochako said, making a motion with her hands. Eri slowly walked to them and Ochako picked up Eri and laid her in her bed. Deku and I will get you some night lights, how does that sound? Ochako asked in a soothing voice, brushing the girl's hair with her fingers. Eri nodded slowly as she fell back asleep. Izuku smiled and kissed Ochako on the cheek. Looks like you'll make a great mother, Izuku said, placing a hand on Ochako's cheek and leaning over Eri to peck Ochako on her soft lips. And you'll make a great dad. Looks like we'll be some great parents, don't you think? Izuku flared but kept his cool as best he could. Of course we will, he said as confident as he could. Speaking of parents, Ochako said in a quiet voice as to not wake Eri. My parents are coming back from overseas soon. It's almost time for you to meet them. That's a bit nerve-wracking, Izuku whispered, rubbing his hand behind his head. Don't give me that, mister. You remember when you had me meet your mom? Ochako scolded. I don't wanna hear it. Izuku laughed quietly. Alright. That's fair. We'll set up a date when they get back. Ochako smiled. Good. Peaceful chapter. Where stories live. Discover now.